Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about the books that I'm hoping to read in the month of November, as well as give a little bit of a life update because I haven't posted in a little bit and I want to be able to say why. I'll go ahead and talk about the books I want to read first. That way, if you don't want to hear about the life update stuff, you can click away after I'm done talking about books. I realize it's already probably about halfway through November when you see this video, and it seems silly to kind of post a TBR video at this point, but I want to at least let you know what books I'm prioritizing for this month and hoping to be able to get to. I've got a pretty big stack here. I probably won't get to every single one of these this month, but I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. So let's go ahead and talk about books, shall we? So the first two are ones I don't have with me physically, and I'm hoping one of them I'm still waiting from the library. The other one I'm probably going to read digitally, but I want to show you the covers. The first one is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I have never read any Agatha Christie before. She is basically a classic murder mystery author, and I've not read a single one of her books, and this is the one I always hear about the most, and I feel like is the best place to start, at least from what people have said. In this particular mystery, it's about a group of people that don't seem to be connected at all, that have been invited to this island overnight for, I think, like a big party or something like that, and they get murdered one by one, and of course we're trying to figure out who's doing the murders and why they're being murdered and why they were all gathered there in the first place. I have never read this book. I have never seen the movie. I don't know anything about this. Anytime people talk about this in detail, I skip because I know I want to read it and I don't want to be spoiled. So please do not spoil anything for me down below if you have read it or seen the movie or TV show or whatever. I am really excited to read this, hopefully this November, but I don't know. But I think it's going to be the perfect place to start for Agatha Christie, and some murder mystery, classic murder mystery. It sounds like a good time. This next book, I'm still waiting from the library, and hopefully I'm getting it soon, because actually a friend of mine was borrowing it before me, and I know that she is turning it into the library very, very soon. And that is The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the third, and I think final book in the Scholomance series, and this is the epitome of like Hogwarts meets dark academia, basically. In the first book, we follow this new student at this, well, she's not a new student, I think it's her first year, and she's going to this school to learn how to use her magic, basically kind of like Hogwarts, except this particular magic school is extremely dangerous, and you have to either graduate or you die trying. And a lot of people die trying to get through this school and this education. That's basically the best way I can explain it. It's really complicated, honestly. There's a lot of world building and stuff with the magic system, but I really enjoyed this story so far. And the second book, literally made me want to throw it across the room when I got to the end of it. And it was that much of a visceral reaction. And I want to know what happens next. So I'm a little nervous though, because my friend who borrowed it from the library DNF'd it and said there was a certain point in it that made her really angry and she just didn't want to finish it and didn't care anymore. So I'm a little bit nervous about that, but I'm excited to try it because I want to see what happens, because seriously, the last book, I was so angry at the end and just so like frustrated, but like in a good way. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm excited to read that because I think dark academia when I think November, and I feel like this is the perfect month to read it. All right, the rest of these are ones that I have physically. So The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I've heard so much about this particular series. There are 3 books out in this series now. I think there's only going to be 3, but this sounds so adorable. So it is a murder mystery series, and it follows a group of men and women who live at a retirement village, and they are obsessed with true crime, and they put together this club called the Thursday Murder Club, which I assume means they get together on Thursdays and they talk about true crime. And then one day an actual murder happens at the retirement home and they try to solve it. I've heard it's really adorable and heartwarming and honestly like a cozy mystery, and I'm really excited to read it. I've heard so many good things, nothing but good things, and I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so precious. The next one is Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder a few months ago and I loved it. It was so good. It's about this girl in high school, and for her senior project, she decided she wanted to look into a local murder slash just a local murder in her school. And she doesn't think that the person that was accused was rightly accused, and she wants to prove them wrong, and so she ends up doing this whole investigative thing herself, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it so much. This is a YA series, and I had a blast with it. I'm really excited to see what happens next. I've heard a lot of good things about every single one of these books, so I'm excited about that one. Okay, this next one I have already started. I started it yesterday, and I'm very, very, very little ways in, and that is Kingdom of the Curse. Ooh, that's shiny. Kingdom of the Curse by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. And the first book, we are following twin witches who live in Italy, I believe. And one of the twins is murdered. And the other twin, surviving twin, wants to bring her sister to justice. And she ends up teaming up with a demon who also, for certain reasons, wants to find out who the murderer was as well. And of course, the demon he can't be trusted because he's a demon, but also he's super hot. So it's very angsty, which normally is not my thing, but I had a really good time reading it. I read Kingdom of the Wicked last November, and this one to me is a great hurdle between Halloween and Christmas, because this is spooky. It's witches, demons, all that kind of stuff, but it's really angsty and romancy. So I feel like it kind of mixes together that bridge between spooky and like cozy in a way. I just started this, and oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, so it's been a while since I've read the first one. It is so steamy. This is a young adult book. Like by page 2, I was like, oh my. It made me think of the meme that was like, why is it spicy? It was just, I'm only like a tiny bit in, like 3 chapters. It has been so spicy so far. And I'm like fanning myself, like, oh my goodness. Like, I normally don't read really steamy stuff. And for a young adult book, this is a very steamy, to the point where it's making me uncomfortable, because I just don't read that kind of stuff very much. And how is this a young adult book? That's what I want to know. Anyways, I'm having a little trouble getting into it because it's very angsty and also very steamy, and it feels a little weird reading it, but hopefully I get into it more and enjoy it more. I hope I don't DNF it. We'll see. But it's interesting so far. Oh yeah, I explained what it was about. Okay, now 2 more left. So this next one is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Nobody seems to know how to pronounce this guy's last name. I feel like every time someone introduces one of his books, we say it like 2 or 3 different ways. So this is a dark academia murder mystery. At least that's what it seems like to me. We're following a young woman whose friend in college was murdered, and she believes that a certain professor who's very popular at this university is the one to blame. The reason this book is called The Maidens is because this professor has a following, and there's like a group of college girls who are kind of obsessed with him, and they call themselves the Maidens. And anyways, it just sounds interesting. I've heard some very mixed opinions. I have read The Silent Patient by the same author and enjoyed it, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy it. I'm going into it with very low expectations, just in case, because again, so many mixed opinions on it. Some people didn't like it, so I'm interested to give it a try and see how it goes. Okay, last one. This one is very much outside of my wheelhouse, but it finally came up for me at the library for me to be able to read, and I've heard so much about it that I wanted to try it, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. This is Jennette McCurdy's memoir, and I have heard some very interesting things about this book. So I personally was interested as a whole just because it was Jennette McCurdy, because I personally really enjoyed watching iCarly. And so as an actress, I knew who she was, and I was interested in hearing her story. And it's a hard one. I've heard she's gone through a lot, and I know it's going to be a hard read. But I've heard it's well worth the read. I've heard it's incredibly written, and has a lot of depth to it, and I'm really interested to see what everyone's been talking about. So I'm a little nervous going into it because I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be very hard to read and be gut-wrenching thinking about somebody going through the things that she goes through. But I think it's going to be good, and I'm interested just to see what she's gone through and what her life has been like. So I think it's going to be not necessarily a good time, but I think it's going to be a good read. I'll say that much. So those are all the books I'm hoping to read in November. I'm going to prioritize the ones that I got from the library, of course, because I have a limited time on those. So I'm going to probably focus on those the most. So those are all those books. Please let me know down below if you've read any of those, your thoughts on them. Please no spoilers, especially for the murder mystery ones. But I would love to hear if you've read them and if you liked them or didn't like them. So now on to some life update stuff really quick. So I haven't posted in a little bit because honestly, this past month has been absolutely crazy. It has sped by. There have been a lot of ups and a lot of really difficult downs. I'm going to go ahead and start with the down first and then kind of talk about maybe a few more positive things. So the down is our sweet dog, who is 8 years old, and you can probably hear him licking right now. He is obsessively licking his paws at the moment, so I'm sorry if you can hear doggo noises. But he had been acting very lethargic. He hadn't really been eating very much and just hadn't been acting like himself. And we noticed he had lost a little bit of weight. So we took him to the vet to try to figure out what was going on. And just looking at him outwardly, they didn't really see what was going on. And so they suggested doing some blood work just to see. They said, that might give us more of an idea if there's something internal going on. So they did blood work, and unfortunately the results were not good. We found out that he actually has stage 3 or 4 kidney disease. And at this point, there's nothing that can be done. We can try to make him as comfortable as possible, but he's going to decline and probably decline very quickly. He most likely probably won't survive past the end of the year. Most likely before that. They said it could be weeks, months if we're lucky. So that was really hard. We were not expecting to hear that, especially since he's 8, and we kind of, as a dog, we expected him to live several more years and didn't expect this to be the end of his life. So obviously my husband and I were very, very heartbroken and emotional when we heard about that entire week. After we heard about it on a Monday. That entire week I was an emotional wreck. I was crying a lot. My husband was crying, and we had to tell our daughter, and it's been really, really hard. We're trying to spend as much time with him as possible. He's our sweet boy. He doesn't have a lot of energy now, and he's very snuggly. He just wants to snuggle and be loved on. And so we're just trying to love on him and show him as much love and attention as we possibly can, and to cater to whatever sounds good for him to eat, because he's a lot of foods that he normally would get excited about or would normally eat, he hasn't been eating. So we have to be a little bit more creative with the types of things that we feed him, and just trying to make him as happy as possible. So that's been very, very hard, and part of the reason why I haven't posted in a little bit. Work has been extremely busy, and as I near closer towards the holidays, it picks up quite a bit at my job, and so I'm trying to keep up with all that. And then on a positive note, we just got back from vacation. This was the one vacation we took this year, and we went to the mountains and stayed in a cabin with my whole family. So it was 8 people in a cabin. It could either be fun or we would all murder each other by the end of it. So I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And it was kind of middle of the road. It was fine. It was a trip. It wasn't a vacation. It was honestly not really relaxing, which I didn't think it would be. This is the first vacation we took with our daughter. She's 6 years old. Normally when we've taken vacations before, she's gone to stay with my parents, and my husband and I have gone on a trip on our own, which has been wonderful for our marriage. And it's just a great time to rest and kind of recuperate and have some time to not parent and just be able to focus on our relationship. But our daughter's got to an age now where she really wants to come with us, and we felt like it was time she needs to start coming with us on vacations. And so we took her with us, as well as my parents and my brother and sister-in-law and my niece. So we all went together and went and stayed at this big cabin for a week, and there were a lot of ups and downs. We did have a lot of fun, though. It was a lot of fun just hiking and going to various places that my husband and I really love to go to, because this particular vacation destination is somewhere that we go almost every year, and we have gone a lot in our personal childhoods growing up too. And so it was really fun to take our daughter there and for her to experience for the first time. So that was fun, not relaxing, but it was fun. So now I'm back from vacation, and kind of mourning the loss a little bit of the fact that we lost an entire week with our dog. We weren't able to bring our dog with us, but a friend of ours took care of him for us, so he got a lot of love and attention while we were gone. So I know he was very well loved. So I'm glad we didn't have to take him to a kennel or anything like that. He got to stay in a home with a loving family. And so I just hated missing a whole week with him after we found out that he doesn't have much longer. So anyways, that is my life update. It's been really crazy ups and downs and some hard things and good things, and it's just been weird. And I know it's going to be just breakneck speed between now and the end of the year. I will try to post as much as I can. I'd love to do some more vlogging between now and the end of the year, but I can't make any promises because you know how it is. The holidays are nuts. There's going to be more traveling, visiting family. Their work picks up, like just a lot of things get crazy. So I'm hoping to film and keep up with you guys. But thank you so much for being a part of my channel, for being here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, my logo is right here. You can click on that and subscribe my channel and join me on my book journey. On this side of the video, if you want to watch another video right now, there's a suggestion for you. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye.